On this episode, Mercury Retrograde, Nick Cannon and his kids. What in the racist? This episode is brought to you by The Shoe. Aw, hell. Here we go with Mercury again. Well, guys, it's time for Mercury Retrograde. What most people don't realize is that Mercury is one of the fastest moving planets in our solar system. Mercury travels at approximately 29 miles per second, orbiting the sun in about 88 days. One Mercury day, sunrise to sunrise the following day, is equivalent to approximately 59 Earth days. In addition to this, Mercury is also incredibly dense due to its iron core, which also assists in providing its magnetic field. One thing that we know is that our solar system stability isn't as reliable as we once believed or might actually hope. That Jupiter's gravitational influence can amplify Mercury's orbital eccentricity over time. Currently, Mercury's orbit is already nearly as elliptical as Pluto's. However, Jupiter's gravity can distort Mercury's orbit to the extent that it intersects with Venus's path, could potentially send Mercury into a chaotic trajectory. Based on what we know about nudging, which is the theory that a small change to one's environment could impact trajectory, and what we know about gravitational pull, it should not be surprising to see the impact on our technology, our magnetic fields, electromagnetic waves. Based on what's going on in the sky, we can deduce that the changes within our environment, as above, so below. So when things start to get weird, no worries. Just remember, everything is exactly as it's supposed to be. Up next, Cannon and his children. Aren't they beautiful? So I just brought this up because I find it a little amusing and incredibly sad that every time we see a picture of him and one of his kids, we have a whole family org chart that has to follow it. What are your thoughts? What in the racist? You're talking about Kamala as a Jezebel. And the definition of Jezebel is an unrestrained or shameless, morally corrupt woman.
Provide some context here. Let's go to it.
She represents something which I believe is probably the amalgam of the spirit of Jezebel, and in a way that'll be even more ominous than Hillary, because she'll bring a racial component and she's younger. And so this is going to be a real thing to rise above that.
They've kind of painted themselves into a corner with identity politics, picking certain, personality traits, sexual preferences, things like that, to put people in positions, and we need the most qualified people.
DEI does not work anywhere.
We can agree to disagree. I acknowledge that this puts conservatives in a very tough spot, because there are a lot of conservatives who want to vote for women, who want to vote for minorities, and now they're stuck choosing between what they believe is best for this country and having to pick between race or gender. It's not fair, but life's not fair. We don't have to vote for Kamala. We have another option. Why are we going to say things that don't necessarily hit home? If we're going to make the argument against her, then it needs to be a valid one, because this is a big election. She is a woman and she is a minority. We can't just be throwing things out here. They have to have sustenance. So my thoughts, drop it in the comments. How do you feel? Then this happened. This was what the Democratic rally in Atlanta looked like. We were twerking for votes. I am not going to comment on how perturbed I was when I saw this, nor will I comment on how this made me feel as a mixed race woman in this country. I digress. But this dude is cool. He's invited to my next party for sure.
My opinion, it really shows what she feel and think about the black community. Of all people, Michelle Obama wasn't available. Condoleezza Rice wasn't available. Someone who's actually a good role model that young children could look up to, but that's neither here nor there, right? Instead of putting her on stage to twerk, you could have put her on stage to speak about gun reform. You could have actually used Quavo to do the same thing, but instead you chose to take another direction. I don't know what that was about.
What in the racist?